Hello, my name is Elizabeth Lambden, and I'm here today to talk to you about best practices for knowledge management in an organization, particularly during unexpected succession. I am a student at Jones International University participating in the Master of Arts in Business Communication program, and this is one of the requirements for my capstone course, a action research project. The purpose of this action research project was to answer the research questions: what are the best practices for taking someone's place on a project when they are unexpectedly removed from the project? And then along the process we came up with a couple other questions that we sought to answer using action research. What I did is I reviewed available literature on the topics of knowledge management, crisis management and succession, and turnover expenses to gather background information on the topic. And then I conducted 3 online surveys using Zoomerang.com with my group, and then used the results of those surveys to come up with our best practices for knowledge management, particularly during unexpected succession. I chose this particular project on a personal note because I was faced with the daunting task of taking over for a relative who owned a business who passed away unexpectedly, and unfortunately for my partner and I, we spent hours looking through documents and inventory and emails and other files just to try to find the information we needed so that we could help serve our customers. Unfortunately, we didn't have the luxury of asking our relative any questions because he was no longer with us, and I assumed that other organizations also faced this kind of issue several times, since turnover can occur at any moment. Moving to the next slide, I touched on the first research question already. The other questions that arose during the process were: what proactive measures can organizations take to make the transition process smoother for newcomers to a job, project, or team? And should a newcomer rock the boat by pointing out areas for improvement on a job, a project, team, etc., or should they continue to do the work as it was done in the past? Moving to the next slide, we're going to talk about the best practice tips we came up with for knowledge management during unexpected succession. The first and most important tip was to ask questions as needed to clarify details about the tasks at hand. And you can use all types of resources for that, like organizational members who are versed in the project and task at hand, experts in the field, product or service customer support teams, the internet, or the individual who you are replacing if they happen to be available. But we do recommend just contacting them in emergency situations just in case they no longer have the correct information. The next thing that can be done is to review and maintain available documentation about the project, job, or team, and keep it in a centralized location that's available to anyone who needs it. And that way, if anyone needs to check your progress or needs to take over for you in the future, then they know where to get the information so they can continue working on the project at hand. Other tips that we generated were to absorb information, prepare recommendations for future action, and then take those actions. To be flexible by not trying to learn everything at once, and trying to understand instead what the main goal is of the project, job, or team, and then balance the tasks that you need to complete accordingly. And to use best business judgment, common sense, or past experiences to solve problems that arise when all else fails, and just try to do the best that you can. During the process of collecting this information, we also came up with some other tips that should be used with caution. They include partnering with someone who may not have the correct information, or they might be unavailable when you need them. Another thing that you can do is look at previous work to see if similar problems or issues arose in the past and get directions on how to proceed. Unfortunately for this tip though, the processes and procedures might have changed over time, so you could be looking at incorrect information. Another reason to proceed with caution. Moving along, another thing you can do is ask questions of people on your team, as we mentioned in the initial tips. However, you need to be cognizant of those who might be too busy to address your issues. You also might want to email questions to others, but be prepared that you might not get a response in the amount of time that you need to. It could be too slow. And you could also try using trial and error. However, with trial and error, we caution you using that step because it might not lead to the best solution. One of the other things that came up during the Action Research Project was what proactive tips can we use to manage knowledge in our organization, particularly when someone needs to be succeeded unexpectedly. They include maintaining a central repository of all vital information, including records of organizational members' experiences and areas of expertise, in case they can be called upon for consultation purposes. You should also make that information available to whoever needs it, so that they can easily access the information they need. Also, you should create a succession plan for unexpected organizational turnover, so that when this happens, you have something you can do to continue forward progress on the project, job, or team. You also should have an organizational mission statement so that everyone can focus on the same organizational goals. You should require that all organizational members have an education, mostly so that they would be more prepared to be flexible whenever problems arise and they need to change what they're working on. Another thing that you can do is assign multiple experts to work on tasks at hand so that you have more different perspectives on what's happening. Another question that came up was, should successors interject? If there is something that they come up with that might be a better way to do things, should they go ahead and mention that, or should they try not to rock the boat? And the consensus after researching this with my survey participants was that you should go ahead and point out any of area improvements that can be made. The reason behind this is that the ideas can improve organizational conditions, and performance will be, and the better performance will be appreciated across the organization. It can improve quality and efficiency, and could save the organization money, time, and other resources. New ideas and outlooks foster growth, and failure to go ahead and point out areas for improvement might lead to your own frustration because you didn't at least try to improve the situation. Moving forward, the call to action based upon these tips that we came up with was to go ahead and create and maintain a proactive succession plan for unexpected turnover. Share these best practices that we've come up with other organizational members and individuals that could benefit from it so that they can successfully handle unexpected turnover. And to continue researching or soliciting for the other best practices for knowledge management and succession, modifying them as needed. In summary, I would like for everyone to remember the importance of managing knowledge and making information available to the right people. Create and maintain the succession plan for unexpected turnover, as I mentioned. Share new ideas that can improve processes and procedures as they as you get them. And continue researching best practices for knowledge management and succession. I hope that you'll be able to share this information with others who need it when they need it, and that it will help your organization perform better. Thank you.